Welcome, everybody. It's me, Brandy P, with Yes, I Am the Veteran, and I'm joined by my lovely six-time Emmy Award-winning co-host, Miss Pacific Sour. How are you doing, sis?
I'm good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm here. I was racing to get here, man. I still can do makeup in 3 minutes. I'm quite impressed. Still got
Oh,
it.
wow. All
Yeah.
right. I don't even try. So 3 minutes
Well,
is
if I don't, I
impressive.
tend to blend into the walls behind me. I was made aware. So.
Oh,
I gotta
that's the funny thing with all this contractor paint now. It's um you seem to blend in with the walls and the all the materials. Like anyway,
Yeah,
here.
unfortunately, I have to take blood thinners, and main component is rat poison, which actually makes you more pale. So I always make the joke that I'm so evil I poison myself every day to stay alive, and like it's only half true, right? They was like, what? And they had to explain. But oh, hey Lucy, how are you doing?
Lucy's doing really well. She's going to be barking a little bit because she's upset. There's a stranger in the house, but we're gonna work around her a little bit. Hopefully, she'll calm down.
Absolutely. And Miss Amelia won't be joining us this week. She's on an amazing cruise for her birthday. So, belated happy birthday to our sis. And I hope that she enjoys her trip. It looks like she has been so far.
So far, so good. Happy birthday, Amelia.
And so tonight we're going to bring on a special guest. So she is the county clerk for Bexar County, the Honorable Lucy Adame-Clarke. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing well. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me.
It's awesome to have you on here. And so I know that this is the first time you've been on our show. So please go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself and what it is that it is you do.
Well, thank you. I'm Lucy Adame-Clarke. I'm the county clerk of Bexar County, San Antonio, Texas, the fourth largest county in the state of Texas out of 254 counties. And we are the seventh largest city in the nation. So I started my career in 1997 as a clerk one at the Bexar County Sheriff's Office at the age of 24. And we maintain records at the Sheriff's Office, the incarcerated information, individuals that actually passed away. We had to get clean up their files and make sure that the files of the individual that was deceased was passed on to the district attorney's office, the district clerk's office, and the county clerk's office back when. Then I did criminal and civil warrants for the sheriff's office that entailed the district clerk and the county clerk's responsibility. But the biggest career that I had was I was a forensics lane examiner for criminal investigations. So I did all the forensic evidence on human trafficking, murders, robberies. I did John Doe, Jane Doe's for across Bexar County, but also surrounding counties in Bexar County as well too. And did work for 21 municipalities back when now we have 26 municipalities because we continue to grow in Bexar County. But also, I grew up in San Antonio. So I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas. My parents were born in San Antonio, Texas. My grandparents were born in Texas, and one of my grandfathers was born in Jalisco. I never got to meet him. He died when mom was 10 years old. So we're very rooted in Texas, especially in San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas. So I claim to be a Texan all the way around. I did grow up in adversity. So I grew up in the oldest projects in San Antonio that were built in the 20s and 30s. And they are the underserved community of Bexar County, where many individuals don't survive, don't make it out of there either. They're in gangs, incarcerated. And many individuals, that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation. Many individuals join the military for discipline, for opportunities, for careers, because there was nothing in the west side of San Antonio. So, in order to survive in a career minded profession, they joined the military. And that's where my dad came in. My father joined the Marines in the 50s and 60s, Semper Fi, and
Okay.
he taught us leadership, structure, and so much more.
That's awesome. And I love that. And I believe you were the first female Latina to be elected into your role. Is that true?
That is correct. I didn't run on that platform. When I got elected in 2019, the archivist sent me an email and he said, "You are the first Latino," meaning there's never been a Latino or Latina in that position, and you are the first woman. So we're the first Latina, first Latino, first a woman of color, and first woman in general since the creation of the Republic of Texas. But it's an honor to serve in all those capacities or those kind of titles. But my daughter's German Latina, so to me, I brag about being the first woman. Now that the community has been very diverse and we're a multicultural community, I try to educate the community that yes, I'm honored to be the first Latina, but I'm honored to be the first woman, just to give equal opportunity to many women since the creation of Republic of Texas is 1836. That's crazy.
That is amazing.
Good
See, Lucy
grief,
agrees.
Lucy.
The other Lucy.
He does agree. Lucy was telling me about how upset she is about sex trafficking, and I know in Houston they claim that Houston is a hub for that kind of activity. And on your way to work, on average, you pass around four, 3 or 4 businesses that are actually fronts for human trafficking. I was wondering if you had heard anything about that in San Antonio, what the stats were for that.
It's I don't know what the numbers are, but it is heard of. And I'll give you a case that I worked on in 20, I think it was 2010. I worked on a trafficking case where this young lady was actually burnt in a barrel and she was human trafficked. And it took me weeks to identify her. So it's been going on for a long, long time because where I grew up in the Casiano courts as well, there was a lot of human trafficking, but we didn't know what it was called and we didn't understand it. Now, in this time and era, now we have more law enforcement, we have the feds, we have more individuals wanting to advocate to prevent human trafficking. But when I identified that young lady, it really opened my eyes to human trafficking because I testified in that case. And it's like they dispose or they run out of drugs where they dispose bodies as well too. And she was one of those individuals that was burnt past recognition. And I had to call the medical examiner's office and ask him to do extra things in order for me to identify her by her fingerprints because she didn't have that much to identify from. And sure enough, when I identified her, they would have never found the perpetrator if I wouldn't have given her a name. So when I gave her a name, the individual that I went to testify on was the individual that killed her and burned her. So to give you a number, we don't have an accurate number to go by because now recently we're finding out that there's more young kids that are being human trafficked that are falling to be victims, not knowing that they're victims to human trafficking.
That's an insane. Some of the truths that surround the sex trafficking cartels is absolutely insane. But tell us a little bit about what Straight to You Records are on the Run Initiative and why is it
Oh,
important?
it's very important. I'm glad you're asking that question. Coming from the underserved community and marrying my husband in a rural community, I realized that there was lack of resources. We're only 5 miles away from where I grew up, but there's no information, there's lack of education, and there's lack of resources. And when I married my husband out here in rural Bear County, South Bear County, there's lack of transportation, there's lack of internet, lack of bandwidth. Individuals don't have printers at home, or they don't even know how to use technology. So right away, I those
Hello?
that are young. Are you there?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that are young, and I wanted to hear and have conversations. Where can we help you? How can we help you? So, Commander Johnny Ornelas, who's passed away on me a few years ago, I sat down with all his, with the commanders from the surrounding areas, community members within 4 months in office. We didn't wait because I had institutional knowledge. I knew that it was a native copy system because I knew I can walk around with it with my phone, my computer when I used to work at the sheriff's office. So we had conversations and we went back and forth. And the veteran said, we have PTSD. Yes, you have all these records online. Yes, you have access, but we don't have printers. Yes, your records are free online, but we don't even have the ability to how to use technology. So what are you going to do for us? Are you going to prevent us from having to go to the courthouse? And how do we prevent from going through metal detectors because we have PTSD? So what are you going to do for us? And right away, my mind started, turning because I knew the system, I knew the technology, and I aligned myself with very good institutional knowledge. And I said, oh, I'm going to build a records of the run. I'm going to come straight to you. And the team, my team, looked at me like, she's crazy. What are you talking about? Because you got to remember, I just came into office 4 months. And once, because I'm a daughter of a Marine, I'm a sister of a Navy, and I'm a family member of so many military branches. Once you make a commitment to the community or to anyone, you got to keep your commitment and your promise. It took us 6 months to build the best records on the run that literally is a satellite, it's a courthouse on wheels that provides all the services that the courthouse does on wheels. So it's a records on the run, it's a satellite on wheels. It has 4 office locations inside of it. It has a waiting location, it has cameras, it has solar panels. It is literally a satellite on wheels, and it received a local, state, national, and international award. It's convenient, it's accessible, and because veterans statutorily, we have to record their DD 214, their discharge paperwork for free. It's not about the revenue, it's about the service to our community. Our veterans have already done enough for us. They have served and sacrificed. We don't need to be looking at monetary expenses and just providing the free services that they need. So they take advantage of it. And COVID really taught us a lesson because the National Archives shut their doors. The county clerk was still functioning, and we were losing veterans from all ages that they needed their DD 214 in order to be buried. And they had lines at Fort Sam waiting because a lot of veterans did not record their DD 214 with the county clerk around their surrounding area. So it's not only in the state of Texas, it's also nationally, but they're called either circuit clerk or they're called clerk of record. But in Texas, we're called county clerk of Bexar County. So it does real estate, it does power of attorney, it does all your needed responsibilities. We also do probate. You can
Mm.
deposit your completed will for only $5 in the records on the run. That's insane, but it's a convenient. You don't have to pay for $20 of parking. You save gas money. We park at church, at restaurants, at little mom and pop places. If you were here and you wanted to coordinate something, we go to Alamo Ranch. We go anywhere. We have 26 cities, so we have to make sure that we're accessible all across the Bexar County area. But it's business continuity and disaster recovery. If something ever happens in Bexar County, it was built as public safety, but also business continuity. So if with all the things that are going on across the nation, I can move to another county and still function because it has 3 backup internets.
That's really interesting too, because of the fact that you don't really think that you have to usually register your DD 214 with the county. It's not really something that I've even ever thought of. Like I have a copy in my phone, but if something were to happen to me, like they probably wouldn't have it where they would be able to get it. So it's definitely something to think about. And I would pay good money to have a VA records on the run. I'm just saying,
Me too.
Yeah.
good money. Imagine if the
Yeah, it's
National
amazing.
Archives is on wheels. It would be great.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the National Archives, Brenda, because I don't know you remember back in the 60s or 70s, they had a fire where they lost a lot of the historical DD
Yep.
214s. So only the veteran has that record. So that's why we're trying to grab those records. Because my dad served in the 50s and 60s, and his DD 214 is in a very thin rice kind of onion paper style.
Mhm.
And our veterans are known to put it under the mattress or in a drawer. So if there's a fire, there's a flood, then there goes your DD 214, and the National Archives takes, everything's online now. But when they were closed, there was no access to online services, and we
Yep.
were available and accessible.
That's really interesting. I'd be curious to see how that develops, and that's an amazing, amazing program. And noted. Like, yeah, learn new stuff every time I do this podcast. And so, why would you say, why is the conservation, preservation of history so important to you, especially in Texas?
Oh, well, as you know, my family goes back to the late 1800s in Texas. And it's not only the Latino history. So the first written history of Bexar County was a Spanish colonial history. So in our collection, you have back in the 1800s, you had to sign up with the county clerk when you would come from another country. So it's called intent of declaration. So we were able to trace individuals that came from other countries through the county clerk's office. The Spanish colonial history of the alcalde, meaning the alcalde is a mayor who was a mayor and a county judge. So now you have an elected mayor in every municipality, and then you have the county judge who oversees all these municipalities in Texas, right? Well, historically, many individuals don't know that in our collection, Bexar County used to entail 5 states. So it had Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, and a little north of Wyoming. So if you have any family members in those states, their historical collection is in Bexar County. And before emancipation,
Hmm.
that history is in Bexar County. So you used to have runaway slaves to Mexico. And to see the history and the turn of history and see these settlement of the Native Americans, the Germans, the Italians, the Russians, the Asians into our community in Bexar County. It's beautiful to watch because of the real estate that they built here, the businesses that they built here in Bexar County, and to see the diversity that existed but was not accepted, you learn from it. So Spanish flu happened in 1918, and then we had COVID in 2020. Similar flus, right? Different circumstances. And then you had
Yeah.
things that happened with the water after the Spanish flu. And then we have issues with water happening right now. So government is learning from past historical records that existed in our collection. So it's not for only education, but it's also for government information and for structure. And if there was ever a disaster that happened in one portion of our community, we have plats, we have information that identifies that land if it's gone. So you can re-identify the land that belongs to your family. So there's land grants, there's a lot of mineral rights, there's a lot of data in the county clerk's office that's very imperative and important because not only are we building today, but if a disaster happens, we can go back and pull data and identify the land that existed for your loved ones to resurvey and get the land back. So there is a lot of important things that we can learn from our historical records, educational wise, governmental wise, investments, and on real property land records, that's the building block of the economy, real estate. So if we don't have records available to our realtors, our investors, and brokers, and to you and your families, then the economy doesn't keep flowing. That's why it's important to learn from today and reference back to yesterday's history. There was a senator, Roy West, in Texas. I just came into office, was trying to get rid of covenants, discriminative covenants records. I was the first Latina ever elected, and the media came to talk to me because they probably thought I was going to agree with it. And I didn't because I said, I'm going to go talk to my colleagues. There's 253 other county clerks. We're going to have a conversation and we're going to talk about this because I don't agree with it because there's already a federal law that supersedes the discriminative verbiage on the covenants. Because they used to say no Negro can live here or no Mexican can live here. So we went and had those conversations. And then I talked to my father, who was born 1937, and both of them had the same uh, reasoning of why we shouldn't remove the discriminative covenants because there's already a trailer, a federal law that supersedes all that. Because of all the history that you're being told as a Jewish, African, German, whatever it is, you can never go back and reference to that history if they're redacting or removing the history that
Exactly.
existed before. So if your ancestors have passed on this generational knowledge and educational family history, when you reference back, where is it at? It's gone.
Exactly.
So in California, they're doing it. So they're removing the Asian and African American history, but they're happy at Texas because they said, wow, how did you all win? Because we don't do collaboration on party, if you're Republican or Democrat. We do collaboration on purpose for the people, the right
Mhm.
reasons of why we need to protect the integrity of the records. So it's not just being a custodian of records, it's about receiving, retaining, and recording records to meet the laws that are required of us to follow statutes, policy, procedures. So you don't want a yes person. We have dialogues, we have conversations, we talk to the community, we talk to you all to see what you think. And luckily in Bexar County, we still have our beautiful historical records intact. You would have to go and file with the district court to have the record redacted, but the original record will always be a record of the county clerk.
And knowing our history is so important to looking towards the future. And I think a lot of people don't realize the absolute importance of history and keeping that documented and documented well.
Correct.
Well, you were recognized as a Women's History honoree by the Texas House of Representatives. What was that like for you?
It was an honor, I'll tell you that, because you're not used to seeing women in leadership. I'll be 54 in a few weeks. And my mother was a
Okay,
stay-at-home
you're
mom
great.
because, oh, thank you, thank you. My mother was a stay-at-home mom, but she was a strong community leader. And I always said she would probably be in office if she wasn't raising the girls because my dad was a Marine. Well, he is a Marine. I don't want to say he was. I already got in trouble for that. My dad's a Marine. So she was a full-time mom, but she was advocating for the community. And when I received that award, I felt that I received it for the women that fought for us because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for women before me. So women before me never had the opportunity to be recognized, never had the opportunity to serve in positions, never had the opportunity to buy homes, start a business, or even serve in the military.
Yeah.
So for me, it was the biggest honor because the lady, the state rep who gave it to me, is a veteran herself. I get goosebumps just saying that. So
I
State
love
Rep
that.
Josie Garcia, yeah,
Ah,
so she's a veteran.
love her.
She's a veteran. Yeah, she's a veteran and she's Air Force. And to receive an award, and if I'm not mistaken, she's the first veteran serving state rep.
She is the first woman veteran in her position. Yeah.
That
Oh,
meant a lot to me.
I bet. She's
It
such
was an
a
honor, I'll tell you that.
amazing woman. And I'm so happy that you were able to have that moment with Josie presenting that to you. You guys are two amazing women. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you. She's a powerhouse. She's a very strong
Yes,
powerhouse, and she's really fighting for veterans and foster children too. So I'm hoping our foster children will transition into the military to build a family and build a village.
absolutely. And so, what advice would you give to a woman considering becoming an advocate? Not even necessarily a veteran advocate, but just someone that is considering doing this.
You know, I've been advocating for over 30 years, and I've been in Bexar County service for 29 years. So for over 30 years, my mother used to buy me suits at the Goodwill, at the thrift store, at a boutique store, take me to City Hall, show me how to advocate and become a community leader. I never knew why. I just went, you just listen to mom and you just do what you do. But now leading and serving in the position I am, I'm going to tell every single woman, serve because your heart has a desire to serve, not because you have to.
Yeah.
I was taught very early in age, so I do the same thing for my daughter. And my son as well too. I took him with me to tables that, taking seats at tables I was not expected to be at. Don't be afraid to take those seats. And if it's not for you, then move on to the next table, and then move on to the next table. But just giving a little bit here and there, serving in nonprofits, serving in organizations, or just supporting, just giving money here and there, that goes a long way because you can't be everywhere. You cannot be everywhere. It's a big community. It's a big county. It's a big city. Houston has a 6 million population. Dallas has over 3 million population. Tarrant County is a little over 2 million, and we're over 2 million. But just give it a little bit where you can, and then get in those organizations that you're passionate about. And don't be afraid to ask those questions because that's one thing that I say I don't have fear because it was instilled in me to be strong and be fearless, right? Just go, 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 go. But also loan yourself. Make sure you're okay first. Make sure you're okay. Make sure your home's okay. That's one thing my mom taught me. Don't help the community if your home's broken. Make sure your home's together before you go help the community, because then you're hurting your own family. So women, help someone that's within the same situation as you, and then share your struggles with others, because you never know it's their last moment, because there's so much suicide. I had to deal with that with my brother-in-law. He went through suicide, and I asked him to please check himself in at Laurel Ridge, and he did. So sometimes just having those partnerships, those conversations, and just believing in yourself, but believing in them, it really goes a long way. So I didn't get here by putting on a suit overnight. I really was in those rooms with my mother and other strong women from the community, learning from them to do what I do today. So I'm not done yet. I really love what I do. I'm so passionate of what I do. And I'm always looking for the next Lucy in the West Side, in the underserved community. I'm always looking for the next me to serve in leadership positions next to me. Because we're getting older. You got to remember that. We're getting older. We want you all to step up. We want you all to step in, but we want you to take the leap of faith now. It's
Yep.
never too early or too late. You need it. If you want it, you need to take it now.
Thank you so much.
What do you think is one of the most common misconceptions about being a county clerk?
That's a great question. Oh my God, I get called the city clerk every single time. So the city clerk is an appointee individual within a municipality. So if there's a municipality in our jurisdiction of Bear County, they get appointed by the leaders or the council or the mayor. As a county clerk, we are elected by the people. So in Bear County, we're elected by the people. And then the community, I was in one Zoom meeting, and they got upset because they said, "Oh, where's the city clerk? We invited her." And I had to defend the city clerk because I said, "Okay, I'm here. It's 8 o'clock at night, and I have to be here because you elected me and you're my boss." Now the city clerk has bosses. She's appointed. You are not her boss. The city council members and the mayors are her boss. But I'm here because you're my boss. So they really understood, and they took a step back. So I'm also defending them as well too, because they don't understand the responsibility and role of a city clerk and the role of a county clerk. But county clerk is government, and we have broader and bigger responsibilities, and we are in charge of ourselves, and we have to loan ourselves to you all, because you elect us into office. So you, the taxpayer, are the boss of the county clerk. So that's the biggest misconception that we always get.
That's so interesting. I know for when I graduated college, we had to take Texas history and Texas government as like two separate courses to graduate. And when I took it, I learned how much it costs for people to even run. Like it's wildly expensive, and like to even like for the governor, it's like millions and millions of dollars. Like each position, like it's a lot to even run for that. And you're doing an amazing job, and you can totally rock the suit, by the way.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
And so, did you want to tell us a little bit about the Eagles Flight Advocacy and Research Program?
Yeah, so Eagle Flight Advocacy and Outreach, it's a great program. So I'm one of five. So I was born in 72, and my sister, who is special needs, she's IDD, she was born in 73. And I've always been surrounded by special needs, because back in the 70s, it was either called Down syndrome or mental retardation. Now they call it IDD, a more proper word for it. And our community never understood what IDD was, because it was just simply two terms, Down syndrome and mental retardation. Now they're really learning how to talk about it a lot better. When I met Pamela Allen with Eagles Flight Advocacy and Outreach, I had just moved to the south side of Bear County, and I thought I was poor when I lived in the west side in the housing projects with my parents. Luckily, they're still alive. Daddy is going to be, they're going to be married 60 years this year. Daddy will be 89. And I needed some help out here because I was not a nonprofit. I wasn't the county clerk. I was working at the sheriff's office, and I wanted to help the community out here because there's lack of transportation, food desert. Uh, there's just nothing out here. And I met Pamela Allen and I fell in love with her because of her mission. She is a CEO of Eagles Flight Advocacy and Outreach. And I met her at an event that I went to. And I said, "Can I take you on a ride to the South Side?" And here's this lady I just met. She's like, "What do you want? What? You want to take me on a ride where?" And I said, "I want to show you something. I want to show you a community that needs your help." So I brought her out here, and there was a lot of manufactured homes, single white trailers with boarded windows, toys outside, and they were good, loving families. They were good families. They were raising their children as best as they could. They just needed some help. They needed some food. They needed some clothing, and it's also filling in the void where the kids do not go to jail because they're stealing stuff because they're trying to, feed their families or whatnot. Because I grew up in the West Side in a very hard community, so I took her out here, and her organization has been around for a long time. Eagles Flight Advocacy and Outreach buries babies that are either murdered and killed by their own families. Does a lot of art programs for family members who are dealing with the school districts who are discriminating against their loved ones who are special needs. And they also provide clothing, prom dresses, food, and so much more. This organization, I'm very passionate about it because I personally have an experience because of my own sister. I personally have my own experience because I used to get in line for shoes when I was a little girl. My parents would take us to go get shoes, and I thought it was a field trip. I never really felt poor because I had a two-parent household. So I thought it was a field trip. And they were Converse. Come on, guys, you're paying $100 for Converse. Back then, they were free. So those shoes took me into the future of who I am today. And my father and my mother used to take us to go get food as well too. So that's what Eagles Flight Advocacy and Outreach does. They're a very strong nonprofit organization who is funded by the community. And this young lady, Pamela Allen, is so passionate because her own children are special needs and her own grandchildren are also special needs, IDD, autistic. So when you want to build a nonprofit, and earlier you said, how do you do this? Build a nonprofit that you have your own experiences with and that you're passionate about, and it'll grow. And you'll draw in people from the community that want to help you, like me, because we have our own experiences as well too. And they help domestic violence, so domestic violence, human trafficking individuals, food deserts. They do grandparents raising grandchildren. They just do so much for this community, and I am so proud to be the vice president, but also to know their purpose, their passion, and their dedication to the community. They're always funded by the county through Commissioner's Court, but they're funded through a lot of outside individuals as well too.
I love that. That's
Me too.
amazing. And
Thank
like
you.
you guys are doing so much, and not even that, like you're looking at things that they would need that would be considered extras, like a prom dress, right? Like that, like would make someone's probably whole year to have a prom dress, to feel like a princess at prom, to be able to have these like programs to encourage their artistic side. I love hearing stuff like that, and I'd be happy to volunteer. If you need any volunteers, let me know.
And the prom dress collection started with another organization. Arolina Prado and I started that 12 years ago, but Pamela helped us a lot. So there's nonprofits helping nonprofits and organizations. It's a bridging the gap. These individuals are bridging the gap and helping each other to continue helping others because we can't be everywhere. So it's called bridging the gap, where we can fill the void instead of competing against each other. We fill the
Yes.
void where we can.
And that's what it's really about. And that's one thing I really dislike seeing with nonprofits is when they gatekeep each other. And it's like, imagine the amazing things you could do if you combined your resources. So, and I'm loving seeing that a lot more in the last few years, especially. And I think that it's so needed.
It
Absolutely.
sure is.
Well, do you have any upcoming events? And tell us how we can support some of the things that you do in the community.
I do. Thank you for asking. So we have a record to the run in Alamo Ranch. We have been invited to Alamo Ranch. Alamo Ranch is a growing community. It's not a city. I think eventually it's going to become a city.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Alamo Ranch is a growing community and it's a veteran-based community. So we have a Records on the Run scheduled there from 8 to 12, and I can email you everything. We have several scheduled Records on the Run, but I'm excited about Alamo Ranch because it's growing. It's a military, small little community, and there's a lot of growing small businesses in that community. So as a county clerk, we're the administrator of small business, doing DBAs and assumed names. So we work on Saturdays or Sundays once a month and throughout the week. But the reason we chose to work on weekends because there's a lot of blue collar workers and there's a lot of people that don't have babysitters or they just cannot get to the satellite office or to our central location. So we come to them. We come straight to your neighborhood, park in your own backyard. I mean, not literally, but we come straight to your neighborhood and we loan ourselves to you. And you can do everything you can do at the courthouse at Records on the Run. So we have several events coming up. We also have free webinars. So if you ever want to join us, we do free training for real property land records. We also do free training for judicial records on how to maneuver around the judicial records and how to research things like that. So we also have field trips. So during the summer, anybody who wants to do a field trip, we do homeschool field trips, we do family field trips. We've been doing it for 7 years. You would love to take an opportunity to take this field trip. It's a 2 hour field trip. You get to meet prosecutors, judges, sit in a court trial, talk to the clerk, eat lunch. I feed you pizza and you get to see the historical records. And there's just so much to the county. You got to remember, I have 15 courts, 13 criminal court at laws, 2 civil, 3 probate, a mental health court, an auxiliary jail court, and the historical records, and so much more. So if anybody out there wants to take a field trip, if you're a military family or your military colleagues want to get together, take advantage of it. I'm going to tell you, we found a Purple Heart recipient book of the 1940s when I became the clerk and the other clerk. It was in the back of a record center under dust. I was livid, right? And it belonged to the county clerk, but nobody knew it was back there. I
Hmm.
I dusted it off. I sent it out to get digitized and preserved, and now we're gonna honor it in the steps of the courthouse here pretty soon. So I'll keep you all posted on that. We're working with
Please
the
do.
Purple Heart Recipients Organization. Yes, I'm excited.
And I think that's amazing that you're doing so much for so many different people. There's so many different programs. Like, yes, would definitely we'll share the information for like future events as well. Please let us know. We'd be happy to spread the word as well. Just because of the fact that there's so many different things you could do. Like, I mean, I'd take my daughter to learn how court works. Like, I don't know, she'd probably ask a lot
It's
of
pretty
questions.
interesting, Brenda. It's pretty
Oh
interesting
yeah,
because you see the judge in action.
and that's always important. Honestly, like some of the classes that you were even talking about, like you have to pay pretty good money at UTSA to get, a business real estate or business law type of courses, and you offering those, like that's such a load off people's shoulders financially.
And the county government has changed. We have a lot of colleagues that are in elected positions right now, and they're really good. They're really good because in the past, traditionally, the elected official would sit behind the desk and wait for you to come to us. We're not doing that anymore. We're coming to the people. We've seen our community change, and we're seeing that people are now they're Ubering around. There's just a different dynamic community. So my colleagues are amazing. When they say, "How is it working in a man's world?" I'm not working in a man's world. I'm working in the world of changes. I haven't never had an issue with any of my male uh, colleagues. I have an A+ report card in Commissioner's Court. I'm very honored and proud because I came in very open minded, along with my leadership staff, to build a better community and a great partnership with my colleagues. That it's a different, and I know because I've been around county for going on 30 years. It's a whole different dynamic. And I really enjoy it because we're working for a better community and it's good government. That's what I'm seeing. Good government.
That part, and that's what we need now more than ever.
Well, we're so lucky to have someone like you that actually cares in government,
Yes,
and that
yes.
that's actually
Thank you.
doing what they say and says what they mean. So thank you.
Yeah, you're
You're
such a wealth of
welcome. You're
knowledge
welcome.
feel like we could have you on for like 3 podcasts and we still wouldn't know all of what you do.
I'm here because there's so much. Yeah, there's so much. But I would rather you all take a field trip. Y'all can even do a live video, whatever. You can follow with cameras. I mean, we've done it before.
So
It's
throw this
just
at a good
beautiful
time, we'll do it.
historical records. Yeah, I'll take you behind the scenes where you start your business, how you do your real estate, how do your records look before, how do they look now? And we have a new innovative project coming out. So we have kiosk projects coming out into the community. So that's our next innovative project. We've done 45 projects, but that's our next innovative project. So we're excited about the kiosk going into the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And whatever is something that can make it a little bit easier or it interests people enough where they want to look and see, hey, I could probably do this. I've been sitting on it for 3 years, or like for me, like I've been retired since 2009. Like my DD 214 is still on file. Like I didn't know I needed to do that. You taught me something today.
Yeah. We're always here to learn. I'm always learning every single day, so it's
I
nothing new. It's when we stop learning, it's when we stop growing. So we gotta
Absolutely.
always learn. I'm always open to learning and embracing changes and you all educating us how we can do things better. And then we go look at our Bible. We call our Bible our government code book. We look at the Bible. We talk to the district attorney's office. We don't just do what we want. We literally have partnerships, but we look at the state rules and laws. We talk to our district attorney, and then they give us, they give us guidance to make sure that we're not breaking the laws. So it really is a collaborative effort just to make sure that we're not getting sued because we did something outside the scope that we were not supposed to. So it really goes a long way. That's why I would say it's important that you're like people with institutional knowledge and the right institutional knowledge to run government, because 7 years and we created 45 projects. That's insane. And
It
we've
is.
actually saved the general fund about over $8 million from the county clerk's office. We've provided funding to other elected officials and directors to provide them monies to digitize, automate, and preserve their collections. Because I'm the record management officer of the whole county as well, too.
Wow. Well, they got the right person in charge of records, I'll tell you that.
Well, you're busy as
Thank
all
you.
get out. That's for sure.
She's a woman of many hats.
Yes.
Wears them well.
Yes. And I love it. And I love it.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today. We're going to go ahead and close it up today. We'd love to have you come back on with more updates, and we will be sharing more information about those programs that we did speak about today. So that way, if anybody needs that information, they can absolutely find that as well. And the running ticker that's below, that's if you want to learn more information about our Honorable Bexar County Clerk. And let me go ahead. So I forgot to post May's book last week, so we're going to do it now. So the May's book about her adventures in life as an original Rosie the Riveter is still available on Amazon at the moment. So you just type in "We Can Do It," and the proceeds go directly back to Black Dagger Military Hunt Club and for the Women's World War II Memorial Project. And we definitely need to have Riot on again as well. And in there, you will see me riding a tank with May. That is me. It's actually been 3 years almost to the day, so that's pretty amazing. She drove that tank in '97. I'm not over that yet.
Oh, wow. I need
Yep.
that book. So make sure you send
Yeah.
it to me so I can purchase
Oh,
it.
I will happily send you. I'll send you a copy. How about that? But yes, in the back of it, there's even like a little project where you research your own family and see if you had a Rosie the Riveter in your own family. Because what people are finding
wow.
is when they're doing their family history, that their grandmother, their great grandmother, or even their mothers, a lot of times they served as a Rosie or as a service member, and they never talked about it. Or they felt that they weren't a Rosie because they didn't work on planes, but they worked in shipyards, or they gathered produce for the war effort, or made tires, or something like that. But it absolutely, it is count as a Rosie, and there are states where you can actually register your family as well.
I'm glad you said that, because with that Purple Heart recipient book, we're working on signing on Vietnam veterans. So we're going to bring back the tradition from a long time ago, from the 1940, from the Purple Heart recipients, and we're building a database to recognize our veterans that served World War I, World War II. We want to have their family members come to us so we can keep a record uh, of our veterans. So, like what you just said, we want to keep that data in the clerk's office. Because you got to remember, I only lived so long and you all only lived so long, but the clerk's been around since 1836. So those records live forever.
Yep. Someone wrote it down. It
Thank you all for
counts.
having me.
God bless
Absolutely.
Texas.
Right? The only
Yeah.
state to have its own constitution.
Mhm.
But
I love Texas. You see cowboy hats? You see cowboy hats behind me, right? There it is.
yes,
Came via
I
Texas. Got
have
a
mine.
cowboy
I'm
hat.
looking at mine. I couldn't reach it in time. I'm staring right at it. I'm like, I can't reach. I've got T-Rex like arms.
Yes.
But
Well, I really
all right.
appreciate you both, and I really had a great
Yes.
time with you all. Thank you for your service, and everybody who was watching. I really, really want to say thank you for your service. I admire you all because of your service, your dedication, and your sacrifices. I and many others would not have been able to serve. So thank you.
Well, it was our honor to serve. At least that's what I tell people because it's awkward. But no, no, it really was our honor to serve. For I don't know, like I like to be the woman behind the scenes. So when people tell me thank you, I'm like, kind of gets me off guard. But we definitely learned so much today, and we'd love to have you back on for updates as well. We'll just go ahead and go around of final thoughts. Pacifica, did you have any final thoughts for today?
No, I'm just still in awe that we have, someone out there in government that gives.
I know I'm gonna tell May and Dad. We're both gonna be excited. Let me tell you.
There's a lot of lip
Yeah.
service in politics, so it's refreshing to hear someone that is well educated about the place she serves as you and the people here. And I'm honored to get a chance to talk to you and meet you tonight. So maybe one day I'll get to shake your hand, Lucy. So I appreciate it.
Maybe one day we should come and live stream and record. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
You're more than welcome. It's a big operation. Thank you for your kind words. That means a lot to me and to my family because you sacrifice not only yourself, but you sacrifice your family to serve our community. My sister joined the military, but I stayed behind to serve my community. And I've been so happy and proud to have done that. And I hope to continue that as well, too.
Absolutely.
Well, we're truly honored to have a woman like you in the seat that you hold. And did you have any final thoughts for our viewers tonight?
I do. Keep on moving forward. Don't give up. The world is in your palm of your hands, and don't be afraid. Take that leap of faith, just like I did. I was that little girl from the West Side, and go take it on. Don't make no excuses. Don't let anyone hold you back, and just lead your way. The final book and the final story in that book is up to you.
Yes. Thank you so much. The only final thoughts I have today is file for your clothing allowance. You got 4 months. It's August
Yes.
1. File, man.
And give your family a copy of your DD 214.
Yeah, that part. Make sure you log it with the county, man. Safe.
Please, please.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And we are Yes, I Am the Veteran. Have a good night, guys. Aurelia, take us away.
Hi, I'm
Thank
Aurelia.
you.
Just a reminder, smash like, hit subscribe, and click the bell. Please give me my mommy some hearts. Yay, veterans!